The room was large and stifling, and though it was already 4 o'clock, opening the windows admitted only a gust of hot shrubbery from the park. Daisy went to the mirror and stood with her back to them, fixing her hair. Her hands trembled with anxiety.
My God, it's hot. It's positively boiling. Don't you think, Tom? Well, I think it's hot. You look so cool. You always look so cool.
She had told him that she loved him, and Tom Buchanan saw. He was astounded. His mouth opened a little, and he looked at Gatsby, then back at Daisy, as if he had just recognized her as someone he knew a long time ago. Realization began to flood to Tom, and his fists clenched up until his knuckles were white as the anger washed over him.
What kind of a row are you trying to cause in my house anyhow?
He isn't causing a row. You're causing a row. Please have a little self-control.
Self-control? I suppose Liz can sit around and let Mr. Nobody from nowhere make love to your wife. Well, if that's the idea, you can count me out.
I've got something to tell you, old sport.
Please don't. Let's all just go home. Why don't we all go home?
Hold on, I want to hear what Mr. Gatsby has to tell me.
Your wife, she never loved you. She loves me.
You must be crazy!
She never loved you, do you hear? She only married you because I was poor and she was tired of waiting for me. But in her heart, I was the only one she ever loved.
Daisy, what's been going on? I want to hear all about it.
I told you it's been going on. We've been going on for 5 years and we didn't know.
You've been seeing this fellow for 5 years?
Not seeing, no. We couldn't meet, but both of us loved each other all that time. Old sport, and to think you didn't know. I used to laugh sometimes.
Oh, that's all. You're crazy! I can't speak about what happened 5 years ago because I didn't know Daisy then, and I'll be damned if I see how you got within 5 miles of her unless you were taking the groceries to her back door. But all the rest of that's a goddamn lie. Daisy loved me when she married me, and she loves me now.
No.
She does, though. The trouble is that sometimes she gets foolish ideas in her head and she doesn't know what she's doing. And what's more, I love Daisy too. Once in a while I go off on a spree and make a fool of myself, but I always come back, and in my heart I love her all the time.
You're revolting.
Do you know I love Chicago? I'm surprised I didn't treat you to the story of that little spree.
Daisy, that's all over now. It doesn't matter. Just tell him the truth. The truth that you never loved him, and it'll all be gone forever.
Why? How could I love him? Possibly.
You never loved him.
Her eyes fell with a sort of appeal, as though she had realized at last what she was doing, and as though she had never all along intended doing anything at all. But it was done now. It was too late.
I never loved him.
Not a Capulani?
No.
Not the day I carried you from the punch bowl to keep your shoes dry? Daisy.
Please don't. There, Jay.
But her hand, as she tried to light a cigarette, was trembling. Suddenly, she threw the cigarette and the burning match on the carpet.
Oh, you want too much. I love you now. Isn't that enough? I can't help what's past. I did love him once, but I loved you too.
You love me too?
Even that's a lie. She didn't even know you were alive. Why, there are things between us you'll never know. Things neither of us can ever forget.
The words seemed to bite physically into Gatsby.
I want to speak to Daisy alone. She's all excited now.
Even alone, I can't say I never loved Tom. It wouldn't be true.
Of course it wouldn't.
Gatsby looked as if he had killed a man. For a moment the set of his face could be described in just that fantastic way. It passed, and he began to talk excitedly to Daisy, denying everything, defending his name against accusations that had not been made. But with every word she was drawing farther and farther into herself. So he gave that up, and only the dead dream fought on as the afternoon slipped away, trying to touch what was no longer tangible, struggling unhappily, undespairingly, toward that lost voice across the room. The voice begged again to go.
Please, Tom, I can't stand this anymore.
I think Daisy's right. It's time for us to go. Why don't you ride in Gatsby's car and I'll be right behind you.
This conversation isn't finished. You hear? You're confusing her. Come on, Daisy. Tell him it's not true.
Oh, old sport, I think it is. I think Daisy's finally realized this little affair's over.
Gatsby stood for a minute, shaken up. He grabbed hold of Daisy's arm and spoke softly to her, trying desperately to recreate the feelings that were slowly dissipating. He took her out to the car at her request, and Tom watched as they sped home. As they careened through the streets in the gloomy dusk, a shadowy figure moved out onto the road, waving its arms violently. It seemed as though the figure thought it could stop the vehicle, yet the car was going too fast. The car rammed into her, soaring her limp body through the air like a child's torn up and frayed ragdoll. Still the car drove on, as though it had only been momentarily halted by a small, seamless object. Miraculously, the impact was unable to stomp out her light, and she survived, beaten and bruised. The police began to question her to find the culprit, and with a clear-headedness that a near-death experience brings, she realized that she did not want to live with the secret anymore. Thus Myrtle revealed why she ran out in the road. She explained how she and Tom had been engaging in an affair, and how when she saw that car on that fateful night, she believed Tom had been driving. From there the investigation was concluded. Tom was swiftly sent to jail for a crime he did not commit, while Gatsby was never able to rekindle the love Daisy once had for him.